today we are using the Ukiyo Romance Tarot once again. And this is the reading I've done for the full moon in Libra during this month of April. And I'm just showing right now the kind of spreads or the account from which I take my spreads for every full moon and every new moon. It's a Finnish store that has this very nice Instagram account called Tarot Puoti or Tarot Puoti, if I pronounce it with the Finnish accent, and I really recommend you to follow it. And this is kind of the spread that it's proposing. So I'm just gonna let you look here in case you're interested. I loosely have followed it and then also brought my own interpretations of the cards when I think that they relate to something else than just answering the question. So let's just get into it. So another thing that I'd like to show before really getting into my reading is also that I actually have decided to pull out the spread I had done for the previous new moon. Because, you know, I usually think, or the way that I'm thinking of those spreads is that at the new moon you put on new intentions and at the full moon you release it. So I just wanted to compare and see what were the themes and the things that I had risen up at the full moon last time and see how it compared to what happened now. And funnily enough, in kind of the new energy rising in my life for the new moon of March, there was the Four of Swords, and today we have the Four of Swords again, kind of as something that I should actually let go. So it does seem like like we have come full circle and now the Four of Swords need to be liberated in a sense. But this is the spread that I have done. The first card is always what is the new energy in your life, and I like to use an oracle card, otherwise it would need to be a major arcana. So for me, the energy in my life and what has been happening and what's coming up with this card is that and based also on kind of the new moon spread I just showed, is that during this period of time between the new moon and this full moon, I have fully expressed my vulnerability. I have fully now, I am actually feeling a little bit of a heartbreak, like the vulnerability is expressed fully, and I am feeling basically a little bit misunderstood, is what I'm getting from those two cards. I have opened my heart to what I liked to do, which is to express myself maybe a little bit more creatively. But I don't feel supported by the people around me. And this lack of support is creating this uncertainty and insecurity about pursuing what my heart wants to do. Because what I want to do right now, what is really making my heart beat and motivating me, is being creative, and it would mean kind of removing this idea of being grounded in real world security, providing for my physical life, a physical material life. And so it's scary, and I'm kind of missing clarity and balance about those two things, about the creativity and the like physical material security. And that's also where I have issues in my relationships. But so what is happening next is that I basically need to get out of my comfort zone, but I need to do it in a way that brings curiosity and that is still somehow anchored in my connection to the material world. I shouldn't just cut from the Suit of Pentacles, so from my physical security, let's say, and I should kind of be a bit more cautious about getting into that sphere of like exploring my passions and my creative expression, and do it in a way that is kind of small steps by small step, kind of in a quiet and methodical way. And that's what would bring fairness and harmony with the people around me as well. And ultimately, if I'm doing all of that, I will finally get what I'm searching for here. If I just put this resolution next to kind of what I was at the beginning, which is kind of this understanding from others, from my relationship, being seen for what I am instead of what people want to see in me. This came really late in my interpretation of the cards, but I think this is really a key message here. So outside of like the more practical and kind of small current day-to-day interpretation, which I've done, which is about this kind of battle between wanting to express my creativity, doing some creative work, and then also just doing what needs to be done in a more material, physical world, and how it impacts my relationship. The bigger theme that I am seeing here, thanks to this sun, which is like the major arcana that has shown up fully in this spread outside of just like the energy in my life, is this idea of self-expression. Of self-expression that I'm struggling to do and to have. And where I basically need to maybe go away from the expectations people have from me, from maybe assertive, like be more assertive with who I am, and to make sure that the people around me kind of understand it, instead of basically seeing in me or seeing me as a reflection of themselves. You know, like, should accept and understand our differences and respect them and all of that. So yeah, this is what this little full moon in Libra has brought me. So in one more thing, I think this strength card right now really fits in this theme of expressing your true nature thing. So anyway, I said I wanted to keep this short, so I will stop now, but this was... Hello. So today we are actually going to do a love reading because I needed one, but my dog is actually really annoying me right now because he wants to say hello. But anyway, I am not going to get personal into the reading because I feel a little too raw about it, but I'm going to try to tell you the general messages of the card because I still think it's interesting, because what happened is, and I'm sure this might have happened to you as well, where you are in desperate need of some guidance, and so you end up and so you end up like pulling out 500 cards, each with a question, trying to tell me like, tell me. So this is one of those. So where was I? Yeah, so you start putting 100 cards and trying to get an answer and so on. And often when that happened to me in the past, I've just ended up like dismissing the whole reading. But this time I decided to pull through, to really come back to it when I was calmer and still try to figure out the message. And it occupied me for a full Saturday or something. So anyway, let's just get into it. So those are the original 3 cards that came up. Those 2 represent 1 card because they came together. But anyway, so first of all, the last card of the deck is Ace of Pentacles. This card in this whole reading represents the fact that in the past there was an opportunity that was presented to you, and you are still trying to understand how to deal with this opportunity. Now, this person and you are like yin and yang. They have the potential to balance each other out. But if something is imbalanced, then things can just spill out everywhere. And in the present, what happened is that indeed there was a conflict that happened, people being unhappy with each other, some winner, some loser, miscommunication is happening. And for the future, this kind of represents a far future, like wondering where this relationship can end. And this represents you and this represents him. And the way I have understood this is that you will be satisfied. You won't have any regrets. But you won't have a similar emotional fulfillment as the other person. So, like I said, this was not enough for me when I read these cards. I'm sorry, the focus is like completely off. Okay. So what I decided to do is to, for each card, to get an as above, so below. So I've pulled 3 more cards for as above and 3 more cards for so below because I wanted even more information. So for Temperance, we got the Death card and the 3 of Pentacles. And the way I've interpreted it when I was doing this by column, basically, is that to get balance, you have to have an inner transformation and you have to work together towards the same goal. For this, the conflict can be resolved if you have a feeling of belonging and of being at the right place at the right time, and that you also take some time for yourself when you need it. And finally, for the future together, it works, this future works if you have close friends with you that can be your confidant, you know, like the person that you can talk about very personal things and that helps you to see the perspective of your situation. So if you have close friends, and also if you are intuitively feeling like this is the right decision, right? You have to be sure that this is the future, a future that you would be okay with. Like you still need to make a decision for this future to happen. So this is like the first part of the reading. But then what happened is that I came back to this at a later stage basically kind of stuck within the decision about the future. Still very overwhelmed and and doubtful and all of that. Oh, one more thing happened. Oh, I haven't pulled it out. But basically, wait. Yep. So to help me out further, trying to decipher this reading, I also decided to pull one oracle card at the end to clarify what's the main message. And I got this card from this French oracle that says, "It begins today, awakening." And basically the message inside of that card was that it is the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. So it was referring a lot in the end to this death card, right? Like transformation, cycles of birth and rebirth. So death, you know. So I was like this. This was my table, right? I came back to this at a later stage. And then I was like, why have... I mean, there was a certain signification of the card. That's why I read it that way, the as above, so below of the Temperance card and so on. But I came back to this. And I started reading horizontally this time. And I was like, well, out of the three proposed here, if those were three paths, I think the one I had like the most is the one above, right here. So the inner transformation leading to the star, leading to Three of Cups. Also, this card that told me, okay, this is where you should focus on. I've got the Death card before in the reading about getting this deck in the first place. I've had a lot of message about a transformation and a change happening in a lot of my readings in the past, the past that like a close past, let's say. So I ended up removing all of the cards here and keeping only death on the table. And I decided, okay, tell me what this transformation is. And again, wanting to just do a 3-card with death as my guiding. The first card I pulled was the Ace of Pentacles again. Then I got the Magician. And finally, the Six of Cups and the Nine of Swords came together. And I think that basically it was then confirmed that the last card of the deck that came up in the original spread was again telling me in the past you've had this opportunity. And at this moment, you are unsure of what to do with this opportunity. All the potential is open, but you're in number 1. So you are in the indecision phase and you cannot stay in that state. You can't be in uncertainty and indecision for much longer in terms of how you want to deal with this previous material opportunity you had. And then those 2 cards coming together for me were a reflection of this difficulty to make a choice, and to make a choice that should either be based on your past, so on kind of your cyclical, your past defining how you choose things in the present, like, oh, this has happened to me in the past, and it has taught me that this is how I should decide on things. So that basically it was telling me that you are at the same time thinking about the past, in terms of how to make this decision that you need to do. And you are also agonizing over the future, trying too hard to know what will happen in the future. And I think that's something that's very like that defines me a lot. I'm always very wanting to know what will happen in the future. That's why I'm doing tarot. That's also a big part of my job, like of my day job. So it's really kind of funny that this came up. But anyway, so basically torn between the past and the future, and wanting to know about both to make the decision in the present moment. So if you identify there, then that's right. So once again, this is not over about me being super impulsive and wanting to have straight answers instead of reflecting on the messages that the tarot gave me, and maybe just reflect on this personal thing that is happening and that is telling me that I need to work on. So I'm like, no, you tell me about the choice. You tell me about what is the choice that I need to make. So I basically went down again and pulled another 3 cards. And the 3 cards I pulled were Strength, Ace of Swords, and Page of Pentacles. So the choice that I need to make is about being myself. And this comes with having new idea, innovative idea that are maybe not so much related to my past decision making. And that I should also, because we still have here the Ace of Pentacles guiding this whole thing, that I should bang on that coin, that I should use that opportunity that I got to do what I like. So from this spread, I really got this this idea that the choice should be based not on the past or the future, but on what I like to do, my own objectives in life, myself, you know? So yourself, if you're identifying with my current stage in life and and that you're also in this one. And so I identified this as being the transformation that needs to happen by making a choice, and this choice being putting myself first, or putting yourself first. So then kind of linking everything together, I put back on the top here the Star and the 3 of Cups. That tells us what the transformation brings. So it really brings kind of this joy and happiness, really. Like, that's why I wanted to pursue more what this path was given. And then, I don't know, I felt pulled to pull cards of kind of this future here, and pull another card for this one, and finally pull a final card here. And the cards that I pulled, it was kind of insane. The card I pulled for this path was again the 5 of Swords, which, if you remember, was like at the center of like the very first card pull when I wanted more information about my current love situation. So that basically, if you repeat this cycle of decision making as you have done in the past, that is kind of based on past events and on trying to decipher future events, which you cannot, it will bring the same as what you have now. But instead, if you choose yourself, the card that came forward was the 6 of Pentacles. So kind of being able to be yourself and to do it what you like, and that will bring you closer to being a better person and bring you back maybe to this idea of temperance, because she's holding a scale, and to me that kind of gave me again temperance vibes, to kind of this idea of generosity, fairness, and balance. And then finally the card I pulled here was the Hermit, which also came before already. And the Hermit to me was just a reminder, hey, you have an introspection to do, right? It was like, if you want to get this, you first need to do this work here. So yeah, so this is how I did a big reading, kind of building on it and building on it and building on it with the Ukiyo Romance Tarot. And it worked beautifully, because again, there's no guidebook for this, so it's all based on my own interpretation of the cards. But you can, with big readings like this, in the end, if you really stick with it, take your time with it, come back to it, you will find the connections between the cards, and kind of this overwhelming of cards and different messages and kind of general messages when you're looking for specific is gonna fade away, and you're gonna get what you are after. Yeah, so as you might have guessed, there's trouble in paradise for me as it happened in a relationship. And I want to again say here that we are still in the Magician at this stage. You will see in the final reading I've done, which I have already done because I'm filming this at a later stage of when I actually did the reading, that there's no need to rush decisions, that this inner transformation and putting yourself first does not necessarily mean a big material change in your life, but it's things that need to be maybe dealt with and considered and reflected on. And the most important thing to focus on is not necessarily the future of your relationship, but yourself. So that's the main message that came up after putting 15 cards on the table. Okay, so I think this is going to be the last reading that I'm going to show in this way, in the different ways that I've been using the Ukiyo Romance Tarot this month. And I think that yeah, I have gotten to know the deck really well, and I have been really wanting now to start implementing the deck with my other decks and oracles. And so I have done a few days ago an exercise to find which oracle I wanted to pair with this deck to work together with, because I do really like this setup of having two tarots and an oracle to anchor the deck and give maybe a more specific meaning or be more helpful and easy to read. Of course, sometimes I'll probably still do bigger readings with just the tarot, as I have done previously as well. But so the main oracle that I am pairing now, I think for the coming future, is a French deck that is very old and is actually the very, very first deck that I have ever owned, that I got when I was maybe 10 years old. And it is the Oracle Égyptien, as you can see here with the author and the illustrator. And this deck, the little booklet that comes with it, is very divinatory in nature. So not so much for self-reflection and so on. So it's not the best booklet out there, because I do really like and prefer when it makes you ask yourself some question instead of telling you what will happen in your future. But I still really, really, really like it. I somehow end up not being able to stop using it because I just absolutely love the colors and the illustrations out there. I also have edged mine in this dark blue, and I love it so much. It has like renewed my love with it. But so getting into this reading I have done, I also have recently opened this oracle new to my collection, which is the Portraits of a Woman, Aspects of a Goddess. It is a mass market deck from Los Carabeo. I will do a full review of this deck, but I have done a couple readings with it, and it's been insane. Like, of course, the newness aspects, I think, is making me have stronger readings sometimes. So I'm gonna wait and see if goes through the test of time in terms. Let's get into the spread that I have done now. The way I am using currently this deck is to pull one card before pulling any other cards, and let this guide me into what the reading I will do later is going to be about. And right now I'm in a stage where I am having a lot of doubts about what I want for the future. I have really confronted myself, and it's funny how it had come up from the very, very first deck interview I had done with this deck about the fact that I needed to reflect on my goals and objectives, and now I'm getting this reflection card for which I have put that I basically need some time to think. I shouldn't rush towards any decisions at this moment. And if you identify with this reading, please also take this message for yourself. I think it's an important message for anyone out there that is feeling a similar way as I do. But so I should take my time and strive to get some perspective. And I should, during that time of reflection, seek a personal sanctuary, seek a solitary retreat, and seek my own comfort. I should stay hidden in my own world. Because I think she's kind of, in this secluded space. She's giving a lot of high priestess vibe to me as well. So all of that I just got from the card itself. And then I got into the guidebook, and once again, it hits so much because it was saying that sometimes you shouldn't let your instinct or emotion take charge in your decision, that you should actually take more time to let your instinct and emotions get more calm and then make the decision. And so you should ask yourself what you are doing and why you are doing it. And you should wait until the right time to make a decision. So there's again something about defining your priorities and your objectives. And another interesting part of this was also that you should understand the world around you, understand the world to be able to make a decision. And so based on this card, for my 3-card reading here, I have decided that basically the first card would be, what am I doing? The second card, the oracle, would be the world and the right time. So kind of these external to my own instinct and emotion, these external factors that I should take into account in my decision, and what if the card gives me kind of a time frame, then that's also good. And then the why. So the why am I doing what I'm doing? And so I again got the strength card for the what am I doing. I then from my oracle got a pyramid, and then the 7 of Wands, which I think I also got already at least one more time before when reading with the Ukiyo Romance Tarot. And the first thing that really jumped out to me with those 3 cards together is the mountain, the pyramid, and being in a high ground and kind of in this mountain environment, but on top of it in this card. And also in the Strength card, she is hiding away from the mountain, which is actually representing, as you remember, the world, and kind of the time to make decisions. So it's really, once again, to me, being very, very on point with being in a reflective space and hiding away from maybe the things that you need to deal with in the outside world and focusing instead on your own feelings and instincts and so on. But then, like I said, the pyramids really represent then what we want and have to face, and that we need to reach the top of the mountain. And then the Seven of Wands shows that you are being finally on top of the mountain, and you are able to face adversity. So what I've written based on those three cards is that I am not ready to face the world at this moment, or to face my biggest action in the world. I have put some keywords on the cards, which is here, action in the world. I need to first face my inner demons, my pain and my hurts. But once I will be on top, no one will be able to stop me or shake my certainty. So basically, I think what we are struggling with right now is reaching a certain certainty, a certain truth in our actions. We are unsure that the path that we are doing right now is the right one, and we need to be sure and certain before getting into it. But once we will, then no one will be able to stop us. And then I ended up looking at the little booklets and guidebook for each card. And incredibly, the booklet for the oracle actually was extremely helpful, because of course the question that came up is, what is this mountain that we need to face, right? And the pyramid card, actually, like the booklet, actually told us what this pyramid represents. It's a transformation, so it can be moving out, it can be some kind of change in your profession, it could be a change in your lifestyle. So there is a progressive change of the way that you are living. Something is changing inside of you, and by accepting it, you will have perspective on your life and you will be able to deal better. So here we go. I am very much feeling like this was very accurate, that I am basically having an inner transformation at the moment in how I'm viewing my life, and that I think something needs to change, but I am unsure yet of exactly what is changing. And so I am still, for now, in this reflective space, and we will see where that will guide us. But I should still trust the future, that once I will know, I will be able to deal with it. So it is still positive. Let's not be scared of change, okay? I think there's also so much happening in the world right now that it makes sense to want to hide from it, but at some point we'll have to face it. So this is it for my final reading in this video. So maybe I could go ahead and do right away my last thoughts on this Ukiyo Romance Tarot deck. So I'm just gonna put it in front of us here. So I think I really had not a hard time at all reading with this deck. I think it is great. Like, there's so much to read in the cards themselves without having to rely on tarot knowledge, because the cards, like I said, there's a lot of things happening. It's very comic books type of images where the landscape can tell you a lot, the gestures of the characters can tell you a lot. There's a lot of directionality in the card, like this, depending on the spread, like in the wand suit, for example, the direction of the wands can show a connection between two cards, or just the position of the characters. Like if the sun was here, would it be that this is something that you're going towards? Or, you know, there's a lot of things to read from the cards, and I think that's absolutely great. But then again, it stays a clone from the Rider-Waite-Smith. The imagery is still very, very, very close to what it looks like in the original deck. I could do a comparison, but I'm going to assume that you all know what the Rider-Waite-Smith look like. And I think this means to me that at some point I get a little bit more tired of it than a deck that is completely different to the Rider-Waite-Smith in the artwork, because there's only so much my intuition goes when it's so much related to the Rider-Waite-Smith. So basically my conclusion out of this, of working with this deck, is I much prefer this deck to the original artwork from Pamela Colman Smith and the Rider-Waite-Smith. So I'm really happy I got it, but I should not get any tarot decks that have the same illustrations anymore to the Rider-Waite-Smith. That this should be my one clone, and that any other deck I get should be extremely different in their representation of each card. One last thing though is I also have this deck has really also done its purpose of introducing me to astrology. I actually have been in the process. I can quickly show you, but I'm really not done. So I'll probably do a video when this is completely done. But I have basically done a little artwork project of using watercolor and getting to know the meaning of each planet and of each signs, and doing one page of like art and keywords for what, for example, here Mercury represents. So I only have the planets so far, but I'm going to basically fill this up with also the zodiac signs, and then I hope to not have to rely on internet and my phone to understand the astrological connotation of these cards, and have the knowledge then more anchored in my brain, or then being able to just take a little notebook and get further meaning with this deck. So my time working and learning from it is not over. So very happy and really recommend this deck if it speaks to you. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and if you like this, feel free to subscribe. But you know, this is a very low pressure channel. I am not looking to become famous or to make any money from these videos. Those are more for me to have a recording of my own evolution with working with tarot, and hopefully if someone out there gets help from it, then I'm more than happy to provide it. So thank you very much, and hopefully see you in the